Alright guys, now in this module, I want to introduce you to the most popular JavaScript library, and it's of course jQuery. Now there's thousands of JavaScript libraries out there, and in later modules, we're going to be exploring some of these libraries. But none of these libraries have been used or downloaded as often as jQuery. So why is that? Well, let's take a look at some code that we've written before. So if we break this code down, essentially what it's doing is it's looking inside the entire document and it's querying for all the elements that have the selector of button. So all of the HTML button elements. And then we're going to add an event listener that is going to detect for clicks on the button. And when it does get detected, then we're going to run the callback function to again look through the document and query for the selector of H1. And then we're going to change the style, namely the color of that H1 to the color red. And we're using a for loop to traverse through all of the buttons on our web page in order to add this event listener and this behavior to all of those buttons. So we wrote this code in our drum kit, and this is pure JavaScript. And it's actually a little bit crazy if you really think about it. In order to do something relatively simple, why does it require so many lines of code? And who's going to take care of all our joint pain from all this typing? Now, you know how sometimes you have these thoughts and you moan and complain about it a little bit and then you kind of get over yourself, right? But not this guy. This is John Resick. And he was really unhappy with the way that JavaScript worked in web development. He was really frustrated by how unnecessarily complex and lengthy the code had to be. So whereas most of us probably had that thought and we promptly forgot about it, not this guy. John decided that he was going to write a library that would do exactly the same as all of this JavaScript code, but it was as short and as sweet as this. And so jQuery was born. It's a library, so a bunch of code that somebody else wrote that you can incorporate into your own project and use to improve your own projects or to make your life simply a lot easier. Now, we've come across libraries before. Previously, we created websites and we incorporated the Bootstrap library in order to be able to incorporate code that somebody else wrote in the Bootstrap library to make our lives much easier and make it much quicker to improve the user interface of our website. Now, what jQuery allows you to do is take a line of code, say this, where we're looking through the DOM of our website, we're selecting the document, and we're querying for the selector H1. So we're looking for the H1 element in our web page. Now, if we were to use the jQuery library, then we can get rid of all of that and simply say jQuery parentheses H1. And if you want to be even shorter, the shorthand way to write jQuery is simply a $sign. So dollar parentheses H1 does exactly the same as document.querySelector parentheses quotation marks H1. And you can see that it's a lot shorter, and that'll make our JavaScript code a lot easier to read, a lot easier to debug, and a lot faster to write. So we don't have to end up breaking our fingers by typing so much JavaScript code.